fucking forced me to go, and here I am 2 days later, and you just now figured out that I'm a fucking terrorist operative of Hamas. What a bunch of fucking idiots you are, if that were to be true. I mean, beyond ridiculous. The accusation is as absurd as it gets. I don't feel any need to address the question, am I actually a terrorist operative of Hamas? And I did an interview with Al Jazeera, actually, and that's kind of the way I approached it. Like, are you kidding me? And if so, where's the fucking evidence of that, other than the Israelis say so? So when I travel, there are certain nations, those that are under the thumb of Jewish power, and I say Jewish for specific reasons, and I will get into the reasons why in just a bit. But the nations that are under the control of Jewish power take this seriously. No other fucking nation takes it seriously. I've traveled the world. I don't have any problems. But the ones that are under the thumb, I have problems with. I flew into Canada a few years ago and was held 2 days under the Terrorism Act. They released me, of course, but still 2 days in jail for bullshit. When I went to Mexico, when I flew from London into Los Angeles and then was flying to Acapulco last month to a conference that I was invited to speak at. And while I was getting ready to fly from Los Angeles to Acapulco, this is where the TSA said, you need to go do the security. And I said, that's fine, okay, I'm going to opt out of the body scanner. And they hummed and hawed and they said, hold on, wait for a bit. And they went and they checked with the higher-ups, and the higher-ups came back and said, no, yeah, you have to go into the body scanner. You don't have the option of opting out. And, I've done this many times. I've done this every time. And apparently they changed the rules. I don't know how many of you know about it, but I found out. They changed the rules, apparently. None of which is constitutional, of course. None of that fucking matters anymore. All this shit's completely unconstitutional. But whatever, the Homeland Security changed the rules. And now, if they identify you as a legitimate security threat, they have the option of forcing you into that radiation box, otherwise known as a body scanner, which is a great fucking tool for perverts of the world who can get naked pictures of everybody with every bodily detail. That's not the main reason why I don't go into it. It's more a matter of principle. The radiation that is emitted from these things is undeniable, and the fact that pregnant women and children aren't allowed to go into it should tell you something. But even if they weren't denied, even if they did allow it, why would anybody trust the government in the first place? I just don't understand why anyone would respect or believe the government of the United States, or most any government for that matter. And so I ended up missing the flight. They refused to allow me to get on the flight without stepping into their radiation box, and that was that. So I ended up having to cross into Mexico by land. I took a flight from Tijuana to Acapulco, went to the conference. I then flew back to Tijuana and then crossed back into the United States by land, at which point they detained me for about 8.5 hours. I was handcuffed at one point. I was stuck into a cell for, again, about 8 hours roughly. No windows, no bullshit, really boring, and not very pleasant, but hey, that's what it is. And eventually they let me go, as they fucking do. But I play this game like I'm a legitimate, serious terrorist threat. And it shows who's in charge, quite frankly, that I'm dealing with this. Now, an interesting aspect of this is that after the Mavi Marmara, when I flew to Hawaii a couple of different times, where my mother lived, and that's where I used to live. I had a business there. Lasted 17 years, only basically died a couple of years ago after my mother died. And when I flew back the first time after the Mavi Marmara, the FBI got in contact with me and they requested to speak with me. And I spoke to a special agent of the FBI at length, a good 2-3 hours at least. And I've always made it clear, I've got